Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Lockie, and you are listening or watching another episode of the Coast Watch Football Podcast. This is the weekly show where we sit down to talk all things A-League men's, Central Coast Mariners, Australian football. It's all a lot of fun, and you guys have sent in your questions today, and once again, some fantastic questions regarding some big talking points in the A-League men's competition. Of course, week by week as we go by, and it's been a fantastic season so far, and we're on a good rhythm at the moment. Obviously, not many postponements happening at all these days, which is good that the football's going ahead. And man, you guys have sent us some fantastic questions. We're going to first of all dive into the Central Coast Mariners related questions. Of course, my team, you can see I've got the scarf in the background, got the shirt in the background if you're watching here on YouTube. The first question in here, do you think the Mariners will make top 6? So a very simple question to start off, but it's a good one because there's growing concern among the Mariners fan base, obviously with results not going our way recently. The short answer is yes. And basically because there's so much of the season to go, and it's the case for every team. I mean, regardless of how the table's looking, I mean, we were seeing the likes of Brisbane Roar, Newcastle Jets towards the bottom. I mean, anything can still happen. Even the teams at the top could, hypothetically, slip down. It's nothing still locked. Obviously, I mean, that goes without saying. But look, man, I mean, Mariners, I want to reiterate the fact that we have been playing well. I mean, again, like it's even though it hurts the recent results, the last 3 games as well, conceding late equalizers. No doubt that's a reason for concern, and we have to sort that out. That has to be dealt with. I'm sure the lads are now going to be ultra focused on that, especially when it comes to late on in the games. And I mean that we're going to have the perfect test of that this upcoming weekend as we take on Adelaide United, who are the kings of late comebacks. So that's going to be a very fascinating game on Saturday. But look, man, yes. Can the Mariners do I think the Mariners will make top 6? Yes, I think we will sneak in. I think we will, and I don't know whether that's just my optimism as a Mariners fan, but there's enough there to show. I mean, in the first few months of the season, we looked so good, and even in the games where we lost, and I think back to those early rounds when we lost against Wellington, when we lost against MacArthur. I mean, we played good in those games, man. Like I don't think we should have lost either of those games, and unfortunately, since then, in recent weeks, we've had some slightly weaker performances. I think we've still been at a good level, like defensively overall, really, really strong. But I mean, it's all been really, really impressive stuff from Central Coast Mariners and Nick Montgomery. Again, he's doing such a wonderful job. You have to remember, I mean, we were saying it early on in the season, like this Mariners squad is punching above its weight with the young squad, and they're doing so well. And the young guys like Jacob Farrell, Harry Steele, Maxi Ballard. I mean, it's going to be a big ask to ask them to perform at such a high level for a full season. It's a long season, man. So, look, nothing against those guys, but you know what I mean, right? But yes, we will make top 6. I don't know if I don't want to say we will, but I believe we can. I think that's a bit more. I'm not going to say yes, we will make top 6, but I think we can. Best starting 11 for Central Coast Mariners, asks SB4. And this might come as a shock maybe to some people, but I think the team that we played against Victory on the weekend was our strongest 11. I think it was defensively for sure. Across midfield, yeah. I still think Harry Steele, Bozanic in midfield. Maybe the one change I'll probably make is Nikolai Muller into the side. I think Nikolai's shown, again, he's barely had any game time, but he's shown that he's just shown his class in the minutes that he has played. Where his best position is in this Mariners 4-4-2 lineup is yet to be seen, and that's a bit of it's another sort of puzzle for Nick Montgomery to work out. Where does Nikolai Muller fit? I don't know if playing him on the left wing is where he's best utilised. I think someone with his class and quality, he needs to be running through the middle of the park in a number 10 sort of role, maybe just off the striker. So look, for me, and that's the best starting 11 like overall. But if you were to say right now, like Mariners take on Melbourne City this Tuesday night, the day that this podcast is coming out, if I would definitely make multiple other changes actually as well. I would drop Arena. I think Marco Arena does need to be dropped. Many fans have brought it up. I think bringing in Mateus Maresh maybe for Arena just to create a different dynamic in attack. Maresh is obviously a bit different. He's different in attack compared to Marco Arena, but that could be cool. Or even, as I mentioned, Muller through the middle alongside Cummings would be interesting as well. I think Jason Cummings has to start as well. But yeah, honestly, there's not too many real changes I would make from the starting 11 for the Central Coast Mariners, to be honest. We've got a question in here from Jaden who asks, in your stream, you were saying we need someone better alongside Bozanic. Who realistically could it be? I'm not sure if I remember exactly saying that. I might have said something similar. I definitely remember that in the live watch long stream that we were doing, and we did the match reaction stream after that on Saturday night, of course, as we do after every Mariners game on YouTube. But who could it be? I mean, I think we were just analysing the midfield. Some people were talking about Gianni Stensness and the fact that we're missing Gianni Stensness and we didn't recruit properly to replace Gianni Stensness. I mean, whether you can say that. I mean, I understand the sentiment, but I think Harry Steele and Max Bard have still done a decent job. But I think I brought it up saying, to the point I mentioned just a couple of moments ago, where we can't necessarily expect the young guys to compete and perform at such a high level for such a long period of time. I think it would have been beneficial just to have one more experienced guy in there. Jaden asks, who realistically could it be? A player who I've been bringing up for months now. If you listen back to some of the pre-season podcasts from this season, I mentioned his name a bunch of times. Roston Griffiths. He played for the Mariners, I think it was a decade ago now. It was the early 2010s, and he secured one of the most lucrative moves in A-League history to Asia. But he's a defensive midfielder / central defender, and he's obviously killing it at Melbourne City at the moment and has been for the last couple of years now. And I just imagine what it would be like if a midfield of Griffiths and Bozanic, and Griffiths more of a defensive-minded midfielder compared to Ollie Bozanic, and that would be interesting to relieve some defensive. Relieve Bozanic of his defensive duties, if you like. I think Bozanic is better utilized in an offensive sense. Like, yes, his defensive qualities are great, and he wins the ball. He's very physical, and he's brought that into his game in recent years. But I do think back to those Stensness days last season, man, and we had some really strong performances when Gianni and Bozanic were just running that midfield, and that combination was so good. And Maxi Ballard and Harry Steele aren't Gianni Stensness. And look, they're fantastic players in their own right, but they're not Gianni Stensness. I'm not saying, and again, I'm not putting the blame there, I'm not just picking out that position, but just makes you think, would have been good if we had maybe one more guy in there, one more player in there, because otherwise we're really dipping into the young guys, and you can't just completely rely on youth in every position, you know what I mean? You have to have a balance of experience in there. And Ollie Bozanic is obviously doing such a big job, really leading that midfield. And he's doing a great job. Yeah, he's doing a great job. We've got a question in here from Aaron. This is an interesting one, actually. This is a bit of a deeper one. So, have we got a psychological problem, both with the coaches and the players, to be conceding weak goals in the final minutes of so many consecutive games? If so, has the interesting part, has the COVID break caused this? As we were very strong before January. Now, like Aaron, like I totally understand that thought process as well, because I think back to I believe that the first game back was the Melbourne City game, if I remember correctly, the Melbourne City game at home where we lost 3-1, and that was probably our worst game this season. We weren't even too bad in that game. Like, we were in it for stages, but especially that first half was very sloppy from the Mariners. Oh, goodness me. I don't know if I want to put it down to COVID. I don't know if I want to say that. Like, it's obviously still the same crop of players, and we basically have a fully fit squad, obviously barring the exclusion of Matty Simon. I mean, Ruan Tongic has been returning to full fitness by the looks of things as well. So I don't know if I want to put it down to the COVID break. I don't know if I want to use that as an excuse. But have we got a psychological problem? Is the point that Aaron poses there at the start of that question? And I'm not sure. I mean, we didn't show that earlier on in the season. I mean, in some of those games, I think back to that Sydney FC game, that Wanderers game. There's 2 consecutive home games where we won comfortably at home 2-0, and we looked very strong there, like for the whole 90 minutes, especially in a defensive sense. And defensively, we have been so good. And I totally understand why fans are bringing up like the late goals. Why is it only happening just in the last minutes of the game? And that I don't know if it's a tiredness thing. I don't think it is. I mean, for me, a point that I've brought up a lot that I think that is hurting the Mariners is simply not taking the chances, simply not killing off games. I think back to the Perth Glory game especially. I mean, we should have been up 3-0. We should have been up 3-0. Daniel Steins, and that could have been a consolation goal at the end. But because we didn't take our chances, we were running to the final 10 minutes or whatever, 1-0 up. And that's the danger, man. That's the danger. So look, I simply don't have like a real proper answer for that question. Maybe there is a psychological problem. I'm not sure. I still trust the mentality of the squad and the coach, and believe the guys that I'm hoping that this is just a small blip of unfortunately a run of unlucky goals at the end. Let's hope so. Let's keep an eye on it because hopefully it doesn't keep happening. And lastly, and Cameron on the late goals here says, I've always thought football matches should end at 89 minutes. 90 seems excessive. I and the population of Central Coast agrees with you, Cameron. That's for sure. That is for sure. Hey, let's move on to some other questions. You got some guys have sent in some big ones here regarding some of the other teams in the A-League men's competition. First of all, a very simple one from Sydney Till I Die on Twitter, who, funnily enough, asks a question about Western United. Fair enough, though, because Western are the top team in the competition right now. What do you think of Western United? Look, to put it simply, they're very well organised. Strongest defense in the league. In attack, it's really starting to click now. If you saw Alexander Previc's performance against Western Sydney Wanderers, fantastic. He's looking real good. And with Diamante in behind him and Lockie Wales and Connor Payne, Dylan Parise, these pacey wingers are providing the width as well. And they've got a fantastic bunch of players there. And John Aloisi is doing a really good job with implementing his structure and play style there. So I think they're fantastic, and they're showing they well and truly are contenders for the premiership. I'm not saying championship yet. I'm not sure how they're going to go in the final series. I'm not convinced that they would take it all the way in a final series. But look, if they keep up this form, man, which there is no signs of them slowing up right now, then yeah, there's a good chance they could be premiers. I think they're one of the few teams up there to be premiers this year. The Football Podcast asks, best signing for Newcastle this year? Easy one, Beckham Mikaldazzi. Obviously, Daniel Penny's been fantastic in central attacking midfield, but Beckham Mikaldazzi, second top goal scorer in the A-League right now, just fantastic. And another question in here from Football Podcasts asks, can Melbourne City go back-to-back this season? Yes, yeah, of course, for sure. For me, Melbourne City are the best attacking side in the competition. Defensively, they haven't been that great this season, and that's what's been costing them. That's why they haven't been dominating as much. But, man, Matt Leckie's really clicking into gear. We were criticising him, man, and rightly so, like a month ago. He wasn't performing at all. He was looking very lackluster. And just, obviously those big heights that he came with big expectations. That's what I'm trying to say. And he wasn't hitting those. And now he is starting to really click into top gear, if you like. And Jamie McLaren, Andrew Naboot, Marco Tilio. Marco Tilio is my favourite player in the A-League, besides Mariners players. As a neutral, dude, watching Marco Tilio is just insane, man. He's great. So, yes, they can go back-to-back this season. Oh, we got one regarding, this one comes in from Chuck on YouTube. This is regarding the recent transfer window. And if you guys haven't checked it, this is a good time to plug the YouTube video we did just this past weekend, basically recapping all of the transfers across the mid-season transfer window. So if you want to check that out, it's on YouTube. If you want to get recapped on all of the play movement across all of the clubs. The question is, who do you think are the three teams that won the mid-season window and the three teams that lost the mid-season window? And I might tweak this question a little bit if that's all right with you, Chuck, because I'm not sure if I want to say like won and lost transfer windows, because I don't know if you can do that. I think there are teams where there are certain teams. There's teams that didn't have to do anything, and one of those is Western United, who did nothing, and rightly so. Like, they didn't have to. So you can't necessarily say they had a bad window. It might have been a bad window for them if they had lost some key players and didn't recruit. But look, a couple teams that I will point out in terms of good and bad transfer windows: Wellington Phoenix, probably number one. Just fantastic. I criticized their squad on this podcast a number of times. Just a lack of recruitment. When you lose Stephen Taylor, Cam Devlin, Tom Ahmed, Ulysses Tavia, these huge players who were a big part of their they didn't make top six last season, but they were performing for good chunks of last season, and those players were key for Wellington Phoenix last year. Did not barely replace them at all with any sort of quality close to those players, and they've brought in Gail Sandoval and Scott Wooten. And Gail Sandoval's obviously been the one stealing the headlines. He's been fantastic, already banging in the goals. Fantastic strike last week against Brisbane Roar. And Scott Wooten, I put him in my team of the week for this past round in the A-League men's competition. I thought he was immense against Sydney FC. If you watch back, the number of clearances, I don't know the stats, but it felt like he was making clearances left, right, and centre just every couple of minutes. He was blocking things, making clearances, and he just looks like a beast at the back. That's a solid defensive signing to replace the departure of Stephen Taylor, who obviously left a few months back. So Wellington Phoenix for sure. I think Adelaide United did a decent job. Obviously, they were very busy. They lost Ben Halloran, bringing in Lockie Brooke. I think that's a good move. They're about to lose Stefan Mork. They're bringing in Zach Clough. Looks like a good move as well. Ibisuki, a different dynamic in attack, obviously with his height. And of course, Lockie Barr, just some more defensive cover there at the back, Lockie Barr. So, yeah, man, I think for Adelaide United, they've done pretty decent as well. A team that maybe could have done better is Brisbane Roar. And yes, they did bring in Connor Chapman, and I did compliment that signing. Rio Ward is a fascinating one. If you look at his stats, he doesn't have much game experience at all. I believe he's 26 years of age. I could be wrong. He's mid-20s, I'm pretty sure. And he doesn't have much experience at all. I think his total games played is under 40. It's around the 30s or something. And I think he's only chipped in with a handful of goals. So it'll be fascinating to see how much game time he gets, how he fits into that Brisbane Roar side. But look at a Raw side who, again, another team who I criticised their squad depth this season, didn't really strengthen that all too much. I think Connor Chapman is a good one, but they could have been busier. I'll just say that. Hey, let's shuffle on to some more ones. We've got this season. Ooh, this was a good one. This season, on every area of the pitch, attack, midfield, defense, goalkeeper, who do you think has been the best players? Asks. This is another one in from Chuck on YouTube. Thanks for sending in the questions, Chuck. I appreciate it, mate. Look, in attack, I mean, you have to go Jamie McLaren. He's just been fantastic, absolutely superb. But Becca Mikkeldatsy's up there as well. I mean, of course, they're the two top goal scorers in the league. I think I want to put Mike Attilio in there, but he just hasn't had enough game time. I mean, in the minutes that he has played, he's been fantastic. But those are the two up there for me. The best midfielder in the league this season, for sure, easily. And honestly, if he keeps going this rate, he's a Johnny Warren medal contender, potential winner. Florent Berenguer, Melbourne City. My goodness me. Like, he's really, like, he was good last year, man. Like, he was a big part of that Melbourne City championship winning year. But he stepped up, dude. He's so good on the ball. His deliveries, his footwork. Every game he impacts the play. And there's even been the games where City has lost. He's looked good as well. He's always up for it. I don't think he's had a poor game this season. So Florent Berenguer just stands out. I think Daniel Pena has been good, but just needs to hopefully find more goals, more assists. Have more of an impact on his team in terms of their results as well. And when it comes to defense, I mean, Leo Lacroix's obviously been massive. I'm very public about my Kai Rolls love. I'm a massive Kai Rolls fan. I think he's been immense for the Mariners, and obviously that's shown with the Socceroos call up. Tomoki Imai, superb as well for Western United, and some other players as well. Josh Risdon, dude. Josh Risdon. I mean, I was watching again. He's been great this season, but again, I was watching against Western Sydney Wanderers. And his tenacity and his energy, and he's just non-stop, and his work rate, dude. The way he gets up the field, helps out in attack, and defends with such strength and solidarity. I mean, Josh Risdon, absolutely fantastic so far this season. And the best goalkeeper, I put out this tweet on the weekend. I said, is Ollie Sale the best goalkeeper in the A-League? And I tweeted it after the Sydney-Wellington game, because Ollie Sale was massive in that game, and I put him in my team of the week for this past round. And I don't know if I want to say Ollie Sale's been the best keeper in the league so far. I think Philip Curtis been superb. Jamie Young's been impressive when he's been called into action as well. Tommy Glover's looked good as well, but I don't know. Maybe I will say Ollie Sale, man. Maybe I will say Ollie Sale. I think he's just been so good. I think the only reason why I'm not saying Ollie Sale is because he did miss a chunk of the season. Alex Paulson was in there and doing just as good of a job as well. So for goalkeeper, I'll probably go Philip Curtis. But it's an interesting one. We've got some more questions coming in here from Max. How do you think we'll go against City? What do you think has to happen for the Mariners to win? Of course, this one, another Mariners question. And look, the game taking place tonight from the date of this podcast release. Man, it's tricky. Best attack in the league. We have to stick to our defensive plan. We have to make sure we stay focused at the end of the game, of course. And look, I think City have weaknesses in their defense. If you can hit them on the counter-attack, the way they like to control the ball, push up, the midfielders get involved. If the likes of, especially the wide players, Nisbet, whether it's Saigoda, Nicola Malloy, could find pockets of space, link up with Cummings, grab a goal on the counter. I think Mariners are honestly a chance to snag a draw from this game. It's maybe unlikely, but honestly, yeah. I mean, Maxi, you asked there, how do you think we'll go against City? I'm going to say 1-1 draw. I'm just going to take a 1-1 draw, man. We could go down 2-1 or maybe 1-0. But look, if we can stay defensively strong, that's the important thing. That's for sure. Oh, here we go. Let's talk about Ben Garuccio. Obviously, I don't have to talk about why we're talking about Ben Garuccio. You guys know, goal of the season contender. And Joel here on Instagram, well, it's a two-part question, this one. So, first of all, Ben Garuccio's goal of the season. That's the first question. I'm gonna say no. And I know it might be a bit controversial. And Joel's the second part is sort of what answers it. Garuccio versus Noone's goal. Now, look, take nothing away from Ben Garuccio and the insanity of that goal. It was just a freak strike, a scorpion kick to get it in from there with that effort, with that movement, and the ball in from Prijovic was an absolute peach, and the finish was just incredible at the near post. But Craig Noone's goal that he scored against Central Coast Mariners for Macarthur FC was, in my opinion, one of the greatest goals in A-League history. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that, but well, if you look at the replays of the Noone goal, there's no reverse angle. And that would have been, I wish they would have gotten that, like from behind him, because if you look at, I was at the stadium and I was sitting on the eastern stand behind Noone, basically sort of, in line with the goal. And I'm not sure whether I'm saying it just because I've got that angle on it, but seeing it from that angle and the way he hit it first time in midair to get that power and accuracy and spin on it, it's the most difficult shot I've ever seen attempted, and it worked. To hit it and the long ball from Tommy. I mean, my mind, it's going to be very hard for that goal to be beaten, and it just goes to show, like, Ben Garuccio's goal, fantastic, superb, but Craig Noone's goal, I mean, the distance that it was at too is just on the edge of or just inside the box, maybe, I think. But it was the distance and the power and the accuracy. I mean, just go back and watch Craig Noone's goal again, man. Like, it blows my mind watching it every single time. Ben Garuccio's goal, freak goal, of course. Again, taking nothing away for that. But when it comes to goal of the season, I'm voting for Craig Noone. I would love to get your guys' thoughts on that. Which one do you think is better, Ben Garuccio, Craig Noone? Look, if Garuccio, I mean, is Riley McGree's goal better than Craig Noone's? I think so. And the distance plays a factor to that. I mean, Riley McGree, he was outside the box, wasn't he? Or on the edge of the box at least? Edge of the box, scorpion kick, top corner. Like, that is the greatest A-League goal of all time, that Riley McGree goal in that semi-final against Melbourne City for Jets. But Craig Noone goal, that, man, this I think it's the goal of the season for me. So controversial one, but that's my honest opinion. Is there a side? Here's a good question from Football Podcast. Is there a side that looked convincing to you to win the A-League men's competition this season? Is there a side that basically have convinced me that they could win the A-League competition this season? Western United are obviously the ones we talked about earlier, and I said there could be premiers. Not sure if they could be champions, because I feel like in a semi-final against like a Melbourne City, hypothetically, not sure if they'd win, because I feel like the likes of City, or even a Melbourne Victory, or even a Sydney FC, who have big-time players, who are finals players, could get the better of Western United. Like, yes, Western United might have the team and the setup to run through a full 26 round season or whatever it is, but look, man, Western, maybe. Melbourne City. I mean, I think, Harry, you asked this earlier. Can Melbourne City go back-to-back? And I said yes. So Melbourne City are up there. Victory will come strong again. And maybe just outside that, Sydney FC. And again, they're my top four. And I've said that for the past month, I think now. They're my locked top four. I think that will be the top four come the end of season. I'd be surprised if anyone else sneaks in ahead of those teams. In no particular order, Western United, Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory, Sydney FC. I can't see anyone cracking those top four teams come the end of the season. We got is the A-League... actually, this is an interesting one from Julian on Instagram, who asks, is the A-League that tight this season, or is it because no one has played the same amount of games? I think it is. I think it is this tight that season, and it's a fair point. it's a fair point because you look at Perth Glory and they've barely played any games, and you look at Adelaide United and they've played 14, 15 games now. So it's a fair point, but I think it is. And if you just look at the individual weekends, results from each weekend, you can never predict it, right? You can never predict it. There's some results that just absolutely we just couldn't see happening, and they've happened, and it's very hard to predict. So just based on that alone, just getting predictions wrong, man. I mean, I do my predictions every week, and I haven't been keeping track of my success rate, but I imagine it isn't very high, and I imagine a lot of people are in the same boat just like me as well. So I think it is tight, man. That we are seeing some gaps start to, there's some gaps gaps starting to expand. Looking for the right words here. In the ladder at the moment, but yes, I think it is pretty close at the moment. Do you think Perth Glory's situation will get any better, asks Charlie. Yes. And the simple thing is yes, it has to. It certainly has to. But the positive thing for Perth Glory, and at the time of this podcast recording, nothing's been locked in, I'm pretty sure, but they should be returning to Western Australia next month, which is fantastic news. And playing, from what we're hearing, a long run of home games. And Perth Glory, we have to talk about their defense, and I brought it up in the round review video that's on YouTube that came out on Monday. They've conceded 7 goals, I think, in this season so far. And yes, they haven't played as many games, but that's still a fantastic defensive record, especially considering that they've played almost all of their games away from home. And if they can, they've got another 2 games at Tassie to play, and then could get home to Western Australia. If they can hold on for those 2 Tassie games, get home, they could get in a winning run, man, behind a big crowd who hopefully a big crowd who will be showing up for Daniel Sturridge if he can get firing as well. They could be dark horses for a push, man. Other teams have started to fall. Newcastle Jets, Central Coast Mariners, Brisbane Roar, struggling a little bit. They're sort of in the bottom 3 spots as well at the moment, but yeah, man, I think Perth's situation will get better. They'll get back home and could build some good form on the field as well. Well, let's do a couple more questions. We've got Connor here on Instagram. Connor's a Brisbane Roar fan, I'm pretty sure. He often sends in the Roar questions. Is Warren Moon, Brisbane Roar coach, on the way out for Brisbane? Ooh, look, I honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he's the next coach sacked. I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. There's still time to turn around. And Brisbane Roar haven't been awful. At home, they've been putting in decent performances. The problem for Raw is that at home they're pretty good, and away they're absolutely abysmal. So look, they have to get that sorted out, the home and away form thing, and just get some consistency going. That's what's going to save Warren Moon. But look, if they finish bottom 2, if they miss out in top 6, I don't think they'll sack him. But as in if they miss out, just a little bit off the top 6, I don't think they'll sack him. But if they really don't see any improvement in their consistency, and if they finish bottom 2, then yeah, I think they might part ways with Warren Moon for sure. One more question here from Neon. It's a Wanderers question. After a positive second half against Western United, they did indeed have a positive second half against Western United. Do Western Sydney Wanderers have the quality to make the top 6? Again, the short answer is yes, because there's still a lot of games to be played. But look, the quality you've asked there, Neon, do they have the quality? Yes, they still have the quality, and still the likes of James Troisi, Keanu Bacchus, and I think Jack Rodwell's still been playing well in the games that he has played in midfield. These guys, Philip Kankar in defence. They've had some key players who've been performing well lately as well, and if they can keep that up, and if that positive form can feeds out to the other teammates. Then I don't know what it is. I'm not a Wanderers fan. I feel like I get asked about them every week, and I'm always so optimistic about them. Yeah, man, they've got such a good team on paper, blah blah blah. But I genuinely believe it, man. They could be a team who could just keep going with these inconsistent results, but could just sneak a late run of form. I could see that happening. That maybe they'll keep this inconsistent run, but maybe the last 5 games they win 3, 4, 5 games and just sneak into the top 6. I reckon that would happen. I think they've just got the big players to do that. I feel like come the end of the regular season, there's going to be some massive games, some pre-finals, if you like, some finals played before the finals with some teams contesting for the top 6, and Wanderers could crack it in some of those games. So look, hold your hope, Wanderers. Hold on to hope, Wanderers fans. I reckon there's still hope for Western Sydney for this season. Hey guys, thanks for checking out this episode of the Coast Watch Football Podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and enjoyed these questions. And if you've got any thoughts on anything we've talked about, feel free to jump in if you watch on YouTube, the comments section down below. I always read the comments. Or if you want to just shoot a DM on Instagram, we can continue the conversation there. Of course, these episodes come in every single Tuesday, available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, absolutely everywhere. And guys, make sure if you're not, stay subscribed to the YouTube channel. That's where all the content is dropping. Of course, and as well, plenty of match day vlogs coming real soon too, which is very exciting. We recently did one for the Mariners Perth game. So match day vlogs, fun stuff, man. It's really, really fun stuff. Hey guys, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.